Okay guys, here we go. I've got another one for you here. I think this one would be of particular interest because I have not seen any real videos on this one on YouTube with a close-up look. And I really do think this one's kind of a neat one to look at. And this is a field watch. Let's get a look. This is the Seiko Sarg or Sarg005. And I'm a big fan of white dialed watches, and I think that tool watches in the white dial category are especially interesting because I really do think they stand out. They're very legible, very easy to read in most conditions. And they pop. They really do pop on the wrist. I mean, you know, I just think it's something that catches the eye, and you can't miss it when you're looking at it on your wrist. It's just a great combination. I had been looking for a field watch. I've compared this to a number of things, including the Khaki King from Hamilton, and it's a real close matchup. In fact, I really do think these two watches should do a head-to-head comparison, and it's probably the thing that I would be looking to do here in the future. But I wanted you guys to get a look at this one because I think there's been some reviews on the black dial version, but this one here just stands out for me. And again, it is a 6R15 automatic movement, which, as you can see here, comparing it to my Sarg009, which is kind of my everyday wear watch, but I really did want something like this. Now, let's talk about it here a little bit in detail. Out of the box, this strap is pretty, it's just not a great strap, to be completely fair here. It's just feeling it right out of the box, I can tell you it just doesn't have the feel of something at a premium level of quality. And it definitely doesn't look like it's going to wear particularly well. So this one I will probably immediately take off and get it onto a NATO at the very least until I can procure something a little more premium and a little bit nicer. Perhaps something with sailcloth or something like that, or even a premium leather strap. One thing I will note about the Hamilton model, it has a much nicer standard stock strap on it. But the overall feature of this, and what I'll do here while I'm talking to you, I'll pull the, let me pull this one off and just do a little side by side so you can get a look. Now this one here, the Sarg005 is a 40 millimeter width approximately, and you're about that size here with the Sarg009. However, because of the way they've done the compass ring in the dial, it almost makes this one trend a little bit smaller. It's a 20 millimeter lug width and about 12 millimeters thick. So really the presentation is very easy to do on the wrist, and I'll just quickly put it on. Another thing to note, guys, and just quickly here, let me show you. Even the buckle is, I mean, this is an extremely kind of thin, almost very sharp. Very simple buckle, not etched. The brushing, I can't say, is at the highest level. So they definitely cut a little bit of a corner here in order to deliver this watch at this price point to you with this strap, for sure. I really do like the dial. No question. I mean, it's got kind of a cream off-white color to it. There's just a little bit of luster on it, just ever so slightly small amount to it. I can't say that it has a really bright sheen to it when you pull it in the light, but there's a little something there, and I do like that. But I almost like the kind of conservative look it has. It's just a simple kind of off-white cream dial, almost like a patina in certain light. It's not a straight white. It's also not very luminescent white like my Sportura Polar dial. If you've looked at that video on my channel, you'll see that that one has a really pronounced kind of sheen to it when it goes into the light, and that's quite beautiful. But on the wrist, okay, and I've got about a 7¼ and change inch wrist here. It sits great. This is on the smaller side for me, but I still feel like I'm wearing a substantial enough watch. If you're in the smaller wrist category, this one's going to be just right in there on the sweet spot, I think, for you. It'll be just about right, for sure. If you're going below 7 inches, I think you can still wear this one without a lot of trouble, for sure. Let's see. Now, what I'll do is also put this one side by side so you guys can just get a little bit of a comparison. And again, if you haven't seen my video on this Sarg005, geez, it just went to 30,000 views. I'm pretty stunned by that, guys. I have to say I'm thrilled. That's just fantastic. A lot of guys have been looking at this watch because of its versatility as a daily wearing watch. And it's just a terrific combination of materials, and I love it. I think it's a great watch for the price, for sure. This one's definitely in there, but I think there are some pro and cons you want to think about with this one in terms of the materials versus the price. Right now, this watch can be had for approximately $355 on Amazon Prime. However, if you look into eBay or some of the other sellers, I believe you can even go in and around right at $300 or just slightly below. There are some low prices for it. Keep your eyes open if you are looking for one of these. There is also a version of this which is much harder to find here in the US, including even on Japanese sellers' sites, which has the steel bracelet. I think there's one other slight variation too on the dial, but it's basically the same watch. I'll have to put a link up on screen once I post this for you guys. I do not have that in front of me, but that is one to think about, because if you get it with the stainless already, at least you're getting a decent bracelet, and then you can just get yourself an additional strap later, and you don't feel like you've kind of got a little less right at the beginning with this very basic strap that they provide. But I think at a 40 millimeter width with the 12 millimeter thickness and 20 millimeter lug width here, which is very versatile for a lot of different straps that you can get on Amazon or eBay or some of the other premium sellers, or even a nice Hirsch strap would be brilliant on this, I think, for sure. You know, another thing I'll note here too, just in terms of the quality control, the outer track, the furthest track out on this dial, now you can see on the inner part, you've got the 24-hour track, and then you've got your standard numbers. Then you got the seconds track out there, and that has the Loom. And I'll show you that at the tail end here so we can get a look at it. But the compass bezel is extremely sensitive. Just on the wrist, when I had it on earlier, I found that it just kind of, even with the movement of your arm, it just sort of is always off kilter. It's always in play. It's not something that has a locking feature. It's not something that really is ever going to stay at true north, as it were. So keep that in mind. Another thing to note also, and I have been able to enjoy close-up look. My friend has the Alpinist, the green, gorgeous beauty, the Alpinist watch. I can put a link up to that one for you guys as well at some point. I have not reviewed it, mainly because there's a lot of terrific reviews out there on that watch. Really beautiful. That might be the most, in terms of a value proposition for a field watch. The price on that one is very excellent right now. It has everything you're looking for, plus I think a nicer presentation with the strap. But, you know, perhaps the green and gold is not for everybody, or at least, you know, that might be something you rotate in and out of your collection for wearing. This one I think you can wear more often, but, you know, honestly, that's a preference, guys. I can totally appreciate. A lot of guys have that, and that's a gorgeous watch. My good friend has one, and I've also handled it at a number of authorized dealers, and it's really one of those watches that you do need to see in person, I believe, to appreciate its true beauty. The pictures almost don't do it the justice that your eyes will when you really get a chance to get that one in front of you in person. And perhaps in the future, when I do get a chance, I'll review that one myself. But for right now, there's just so much great content out there on that one. And I felt like this one here was lacking. Not enough decent close-up video of it on YouTube at the moment. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think about this one. I appreciate the configuration and the look of it. It's a very reasonable price right now if you're looking for a white-dialed field watch. However, keep in mind that the strap and a couple of other small things here might put you in a category of looking towards perhaps another watch in the Seiko range for your price versus quality and versus what it offers, or perhaps even some of the Hamilton khaki watches, because those are brilliant watches. They're really well done, and obviously they're the classic leader in that sort of arena for this configuration, for this design. But I really do love the look of the dial, those really kind of neat syringe style hands, and you got that really kind of thin seconds hand with the lollipop balance there. Let's get a look at the Loom. Just briefly, I will compare it to the Sarg009. Much more thickly applied Loom on this one, guys, so it's not really in the same league with regards to that, but at least you'll get a sense of what it'll look like. Just give me a moment now. I've got an additional extra light I put in here to kind of make my color temperature a little different and make the video a little brighter. However, now it takes me slightly longer to kill all of the lighting sources in this room. One thing that's great about these field watches, though, is they kind of have a real versatile look to it. It's a classic design, which I feel kind of does. Okay, here we are now. My 8th light turned off. One more to go, and this one I'll actually turn off with my iPhone. I've got everything connected. I feel like this watch does have a versatility with it, which allows you to kind of wear it in dressy situations. At the same time, you can also wear this in a much more casual situation. So it is a unique configuration with regards to the classic design and style. Okay. We've got everything off finally. So here we go. Get a look at this Loom. Now, it's pretty faint, and if I'm honest with you here, the field watch Loom is decent enough, but this is certainly not all-night Loom, and because it is not very thickly applied, I don't think you're really going to feel like you're in the category as you even would be here with the Sarg009 on the right, the kind of Explorer style version. Now that is a really great Loom configuration that's difficult to miss. This one here, you might have to kind of get a close look at it and bring it close to your face to make sure you know what you're looking at. But for the most part, it's pretty good, but definitely not a diving category of Loom for sure. But there is some Loom, so at least you have something to work with. And at night, you know, typically you'd probably want a field watch to have a little bit more Loom, but I can't complain completely. I think it's decent enough for sure. But anyway, guys, what do you think of this one? I definitely think it is an interesting version of a classic design. It certainly competes with a number of other watches in this segment. What are your thoughts? Do you own one of the Hamiltons? Do you own the Alpinist? Would you even put it in the category? I mean, you can see here, it's got a nice brush case. I wouldn't say it's at the top of the range for some of the brushing that they do, but it's still quite nice. And you can see they've got the exhibition case back there with the hardlex. This is a flat sapphire crystal, and it is very close to the edge, so you can see they really put it right on the edge. It's very nicely done. The tolerances are quite good, and the overall fit and finish, I have to say, aside from the fact that you've got this little bit of a looseness here on this bezel for operating the compass feature. Aside from that, I can't really find anything particularly negative. It's a very nice design also. As you can see, the way the lugs kind of arch in a more pronounced way. And here, this case is a little more rounded. This one is a more sculpted side, and then it's brushed, so it gives you almost a kind of a cleaner look that's more defined. And there are little pieces of high polish in between, but it's largely a brushed case overall. So it's definitely something that looks great outdoors in different kinds of light conditions. One more light. Let me pop it back on here so I get back to our original light state here. I've got to figure out something a little bit more manageable in the lighting situation. Anyway, guys, I wanted to show you this one. I'm about to jump on a plane here again really soon, and I wanted to put this one up before the weekend. I'm going to be in Asia again very soon, and guys, there will be a lot more coming up, so definitely stay tuned to the channel. We will have a number of really terrific things to take a look at very soon here on the channel. And I really do thank you for your support and tuning in. A lot of guys have tuned in a lot in the last couple of months, and it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. Okay, guys, well, thanks again for watching. I will put some information below in the comment area on the specs, as I always do once I get one of these up. So definitely look at that. And as I've said, this one is priced right now. Its original MSRP in the Japanese market, because this is a JDM watch, or Japanese domestic watch, was approximately $430, give or take, with your exchange rate. However, right now, Prime on Amazon about $355, but you could probably even get this one in this particular configuration for about $300 or even a few dollars less, depending also on potential cost of shipping. But that's a pretty good price for a watch of this style and design. And if you've got yourself a couple of great straps at home in the 20 millimeter category, you could really just get right into it and change the configuration in numerous ways to your taste. Anyway, guys, I do think it's a good one. And again, it is a 100-meter depth rating without a screw-down crown. I've had a few guys say, you know, that they just really believe that these can go into the water. For me, it's a personal preference. I probably won't take a crown that doesn't screw down in the 100-meter category, but that doesn't mean that you can't, for sure. I actually have a Sportura that has a 100-meter rating with a screw-down. That one I bring in all the time. So really, it's just a personal preference. You can definitely get away with it. However, if you really want one of these to last for a long time, it's really just a caution for sure. Mostly a personal preference overall. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think about this configuration. I think the white one is really pretty. It's got a very classic design. I like that the hands are all black. The loom is pretty good, but perhaps it could be a little more powerful, but overall a great configuration from Seiko. Guys, thanks again for watching. Glad I could get this one up before the weekend began. I've got a lot more terrific stuff coming up for you soon, and as always, check out my Instagram channel if you want to see what's upcoming. And, well, I will talk to you guys soon.